I'm going to speak about emotional intelligence is, as most of you know, this is my passion. And I really, really want to make the world a better place, one person at a time or one group at a time. But I find that a lot of people don't know. They know the term, they've heard it, it's like a fleeting thing, but they don't really know what it means. And even if they have an idea, the depth of emotional intelligence is so big, so wide. And we really, once we delve into it, you just keep going and going. And when people start to develop it, they just want to keep going because it improves every single part of your life. So, how many people here know what emotional intelligence is or think that they know? Awesome. Okay, well, after I'm going to ask you if you still think that how you started with your knowledge is the same as how you came out. And obviously I only have 20 minutes, right, Tammy? Something like that. So I can't give you too much, but I'll give you the basics. It's a smart start. So let me just get this up on the screen. 1 second.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that, Vera. That's absolutely right. With the credibility, I forgot to mention that. If someone types in your name, you come up on all these different platforms and different websites. It is really good for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just let me know when you can see my screen and I'll start.
Vera, just since we're recording it right now, so let me just do a little bit of more of an intro first of all. So Vera, she had come to GTApreneurs about about a year and a half ago. And yeah, so she does a wide range of things. She is the owner of Bizstance Business Services and Vera Lerner Coaching, right? And she's all about helping you start from a firm foundation. So let's take it away then, please, Vera.
Thank you. Okay, so today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. This is a smart start. As you can see, the happy face is all nice and in focus, and the other ones are kind of fading away. And that's really what we want to do when we're empowering ourselves with education and knowledge about emotional intelligence. It is the most important component in personal development because without this, everything else kind of falls along the sidelines because you're not able to absorb it in the way that you would having or being very highly intelligent, emotionally intelligent. So if you can just mute yourselves, that would be great because then I'm getting feedback. All right, so let's take a look, stop for a moment and think about ourselves. And are we emotionally intelligent, right? We want to know who we are. So when we think about, ourselves, we're looking at, am I critical and judgmental and impatient and defensive? Am I accepting, understanding, patient, or forgiving? Do I ignore and tune out and block and compete and resent and bully to get my way? Or do I listen and hear and care and help and give and support? And these are all things that I can stop and talk about each and every one of these, but these are all behaviors that are tied to emotions, right? So I'm not going to ask you, obviously, to answer this publicly, although if you were in one of my workshops, we would definitely do some work here. But when you answer this for yourself and you answer why or why not, it's really important to think about this because this really defines who we are as a person. And the more we're aware, the better a person we can be. So IQ versus EI or EQ, however you want to say it. So IQ, we know we're born with it. We are smart or we're able to retain information. And that's really what it is. Like we have that number, whatever that number is, and some people have more, some people have less, but you can't really improve IQ, but EI or EQ can be developed and it can be improved. And when we look at things like how we respond to people, so think about experiences throughout your day or throughout your week or, the thoughts that are going through your head. And I have to say, you have about 3 to 5 emotions per minute going through your body, depending on what experience you're going through. So things like, how could she do that to me? Why would he say that? Or I can't believe that happened. Or I wanted that promotion. I wanted that deal. I wanted that client. and they got it instead, right? So do we have instant reactions to things and assumptions about why people say things, why they do things, why we weren't picked, why we were bullied, why we weren't treated well? Or do we give people the benefit of the doubt and have empathy and put ourselves in their shoes, right? Because what does intelligence have to do with it? Well, it has everything to do with it when it comes to emotional intelligence. You can be really smart, but you will not succeed in life if you aren't able to regulate yourself and relate to other people. So that is the importance of it. And emotional intelligence, as far as I'm concerned, is the link between the heart and the mind. It really is that missing piece that connects the two, because we know that emotions do run wild. And we also have to make a lot of important decisions. We can't make it just on logic or just on emotion. We have to find that perfect balance. We have to let the two meet in a very good place in order to make a very good decision. Oh, I'm going this way. I don't even know where I am. Sorry, one sec. Okay, next. So these are just some fun facts. So 90% of top achievers have above average emotional intelligence. These are statistics. 75% of Fortune 500 companies use EI training. So I do a lot of corporate training. 50 to 60% of job performance and success is attributed to EI. Not how smart you are, but how emotionally intelligent you are. $29,000 is added as an average to a salary for people who have a higher emotional intelligence than their counterparts who don't. And it equates to about $1,300 a year increase in salary for each point of emotional intelligence that you develop. So these are statistics, they're facts, and you are definitely more successful in the workplace, in business, and in life in general when you develop your emotional intelligence. So what affects emotional intelligence? Many factors. Most importantly, our past. So family, culture, where we come from, the way that people relate to each other, teachers and peers, and our experiences. But also education. So self-discovery, gratitude, forgiveness, and taking action to make improvements and changes. Now, we are born to a certain area, to a certain kind of people, to a certain religion, and we are influenced by everything around us. But what makes some people really successful and able to build relationships, to be able to manage themselves, to be able to regulate their emotions, to be able to deal with certain situations versus others who don't? Like, why is that person bullying another? Why are kids mean to each other, right? It's all about how we teach them. And some people get it from a very early age. And for me, I was in an environment that I just soaked up emotional intelligence without even knowing. I teach it to my kids just by my actions and how I am. But others are not as fortunate. So what happens is they take that into adulthood. And so we're just kind of like little kids in big bodies. And we take that with us. And it's not going to help us. We are not helping ourselves. But now we have an opportunity to discover what we can do differently and to really educate ourselves on emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? The basics, and I'm really dumbing it down now, but it's understanding yourself, understanding others, and understanding how the two relate. And when it comes to personal and social confidence, we're looking at recognition and regulation. So the first thing to any sort of change is to recognize that it exists, right? You have to acknowledge that there is an issue, that there is a problem, or that you don't have an issue and a problem, and then you can manage yourself well. So these are all areas: self-awareness, social awareness, and then self-management and relationship management. And this is really critical, especially for us here who deal with clients, who deal with vendors and affiliates and all kinds of different people that come in and out of our lives, and how we relate to them. Because we have to be patient and understanding and tolerant and all of that. But there also has to be a fine line of boundaries that cannot be crossed, right? So while we try to help everybody, or some people don't try to help everybody, you need to identify who you want in your life, who you want in your social circle. The five, closest people to you really define your social circle. We talk about that a lot, but you have to be able to regulate yourself no matter what in every situation. And you have to know when to step away and when to engage. And this is really critical to emotional intelligence. So continuous self-development is, it's a lifelong process, right? We're constantly improving. And as we age, we change, we evolve. Things happen to us. We were joking earlier about marriage and divorce and children and all of that. But our level of emotional intelligence is directly correlated to the quality of life that we're going to have. And if we're highly emotionally intelligent, we can handle things better than those who are not. That's just fact. And, everybody is capable of improving in these areas. So, signs of underdeveloped emotional intelligence. And this is really where you have to take accountability and you have to look at yourself. And just because some of these might apply maybe a little milder or maybe a little bit more severe, it doesn't mean that you are or aren't. There are different stages, just like IQ, right? Like you can be really smart or you can be average, above average. You can definitely develop areas that you're lacking in, right? But if you are always or most of the time irritable, impatient, inflexible, you don't really have a lot of empathy, you have inappropriate behavior, outbursts, right? And complicated relationships. These are all patterns, excessive reactions and outbursts. These are all things that affect our quality of life. It affects the way that we relate to others, the type of relationships that we can have, and our ability to manage ourselves and to see the type of success we want, especially in our business. And on the other side, on the flip side, we have emotionally intelligent people who practice work-life balance. And that, again, I'm not even going to go into that, but it's not really 9 to 5 at work and then coming home and that's the end of it. There has to be a really good balance there where it's a harmonious interaction between work and life. But they value morals and ethics. They appreciate order and justice. They learn from experiences. They understand the importance of giving. They regulate behavior. They embrace change. They're self-motivated and accountable, right? So they don't make excuses. They don't take on that victim mentality. They have a heightened awareness of others and they hold themselves to high standards, meaning they're always looking to improve. They never want to just be static or, plateau. There's always room for improvement. So I've created the ABCs of managing emotions. This is part of my training. The A's are awareness and acceptance. So this is, I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling angry. Acknowledging those feelings, right? And the reason for this is because we in the Western society have accustomed ourselves to suppressing emotion. So this means that don't feel sad, don't feel angry, don't feel this, don't feel that. Why? Because it's not a good feeling. Feelings aren't meant to always be good. Feelings are meant to let us express ourselves, to be able to handle certain situations. And it's important to go through that course of feeling that you're able to allow yourself to go through it, experience it, and then leave it behind, address it, right? You need to be able to do that. So acknowledge that feeling. Again, if you acknowledge what's going on, you can make a change. Breathing and breaking, those are the B's. So you need to pause, reflect, and evaluate the situation. Is this critical to me? Am I in harm's way? Is it even real? Or am I building something in my head? Those inner voices, that inner critic versus the inner coach. So you need to identify if it is relevant and if it's really that critical to what's going on. And then confronting and conquering it. So I see what's happening. I've identified it. I see what's going on. Now I know how to deal with it. Why? Because I've trained myself in emotional intelligence and I know what I need to do next. And these are really the ABCs. This is the smart start to understanding how to regulate yourself. Okay. And then choosing wisely, right? Because we all have options and choices. You can choose to be like this beautiful woman who's happy, or really, sad and angry and whatever else is going on there. But happiness is a choice, and we can choose to continue struggling if we are, or we can choose to learn how to live and be better, right? We're going to be better individuals, and everything we do, all of our emotions, affect everyone else. So it's almost like contagious. If you are yawning and you look at another person, chances are they'll yawn too. If you come in and you're miserable, chances are people are going to relate that way to you. It's kind of a mirror effect. And again, in the trainings, we go into what that means and how it affects people. But this right here is, if you want to take a screenshot, feel free. But these are really the basics of starting with emotional intelligence, is asking yourself and being really careful about how you answer, and be transparent. How do I handle stress, right? Think of stressful times that you've had, and how did that manifest, right? Did it work out well? Did it not? And what were the factors? How do I manage challenging situations? It could be at home, at work, with friends. Do I enjoy healthy and positive relationships? Some people don't. They need the drama, right? That's what they're used to. That's their comfort zone. That's all they know. And when they have a positive and healthy relationship, they don't know how to handle it. And so they think something's wrong, or they're self-sabotage or whatever. These are really critical questions to ask yourself. How comfortable am I when asking for help? What triggers my negative emotions and responses? So journaling is really good. You could do it, on your phone, on your computer, on paper. What do I find enjoyable, satisfying, and important? And these are the things that we keep going back to: my passions, my likes, my dislikes. What do I settle for? And then what do I really want? So if you haven't taken a screenshot, I'll give you a second to do that, because this is really where it starts. Okay. So at this point, you have to ask yourself, am I ready to be honest with myself? Because you can be trapped in your status quo, because it's easy to live as is. We are, familiar with the norm. That's what it is for us. But the problem is that it imposes self-limitations and unnecessary negativity and pain, or pain. And some people are okay with that because change is more scary. But we need to feel that fear, right? Because that's what's going to drive us to make a change. Or we can release and break free. And it takes courage to admit that we need to change and to take that corrective action. But that's really the only way that we're going to make a difference in our lives and in the lives of others, because we're not always alone, right? So how do I help people? How do I support people? I work with individuals and groups and teams and people in leadership through consulting and coaching. I do customized solutions and programs, but I never start anything without that initial conversation, that consultation, to find out where you need it most, right? You might need it for yourself. You might need it with a loved one. You might need it with partners in business. You might need it with employees, whatever it is. It's never a one size fits all solution, and everyone's a different level. So even when I'm working with groups and with teams, it's always at each individual level. The people are not feeling like they have to be at a certain level. It's, we meet you where you are at all times. So if you would like more information, if you would like to have a conversation, there's no obligation at all. I just want to, give people value and information and education. So I want to empower through education, and I can do that through a discovery meeting to kind of gauge where you are, and where you want to be, and see if I can help you, or if I can give you some resources that you can start your own journey into emotional intelligence training. And I can also provide a free assessment. So this is where I work with businesses and individuals to give an assessment of where they are, again, where they need to be, but it's a more detailed one, looking at everything that I've talked about now and delving a little bit deeper. So you can, if you want to use my QR code, you're more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, you'll have my information from Tammy. And I thank you so much for listening to me and for letting me share with you. I'm really, really passionate about this.